Figured I'd talk a little bit today. I was watching a video earlier, and I've noticed that there's a little bit of a rift going on at the moment, and probably not at the moment. It's been going on for a while, but something I've been noticing is that there are some factions of the MGTOW movement that feel their way is the only way, and they're in a position of a male-only clubhouse, and they feel that they have heard enough from women that they don't need to listen to women's opinion anymore, and that they should have a male safe space so that only men can speak. And by doing this, the problem is, the dichotomy that's been set up is that mostly women are in the teaching societies now, so mostly women are the ones dealing with issues in colleges. Like I've said before, about 60 to 70% of teachers in the United States and in the world are women. Most are feminist. If there is a feminist, non-feminist, it's hard for them to get work. So women are at the forefront of the ability to see a lot of the enacting of the laws and the legislation in colleges and workplaces, because of the ability of a woman to get a job over a man even though she's not qualified. To not allow these women who are speaking on your behalf and trying to help you and make it easier when if a man gives a conference on feminism, it will probably be shut down and fire alarms will be pulled. If a woman like Karen Strong or Janice Fiamengo would speak, there's less of a chance of something like that happening because she's a woman. And it's harder for a woman to, for a feminist to tell a woman that she's a misogynist and that she's a rape apologist and things like this, because she's a woman. In the case of Karen Strong, she's actually a bisexual, and so she looks a little bit like a lesbian feminist, and it's harder for them because, as we all know, the typical problem that you'll have with people who feel it is all right to not allow free speech of someone's free ideas in the marketplace is because that person is viewed as the other. So if you're in a white college and you're black, then you're viewed as the other, and it's harder for you to get a platform to speak about what you feel. But to deny the ability of these people to speak and to act as if only because they are females that they don't have a point or they can't help you because they are female is ignorant and incompetent. And to act like you need your male-only clubhouse and that certain ideas are the only things that can be talked about give me pause and make me think of an old man telling you to stay off of his lawn. And there are many old men who are set in their ways, who think that their way is the only way, and who aren't willing to listen to other people's ideas in a free marketplace, and who will shut down a conversation, which is funny to me because It is basically using the same techniques and tactics that feminism uses to shut down reasonable discourse in a conversation. These people will stop listening to a conversation merely because a female comes into the conversation, or somebody they deem to have a female-minded mindset. Where, in my case, like say, I'm transgender. So in my case, I've lived 42 years as a man. I've been married 4 times. I've been engaged 6 times. I'm interested in women, so I've dated women my entire life. Yet, in this MGTOW area, certain men won't take what I have to say, or don't want to listen to what I have to say, merely because I represent a female mind, they think. And that is intellectually dishonest. And I feel that these men are, there's when you're studying at a college level, or you're entering into a conversation with intellectuals, you should relatively be in the center, and you should be able to listen to those ideas and object to them, and be able to express your feelings legitimately. If you come into an idea, as feminists do, on so far off of the scale that you're not even a left wing or a right wing conservative, libertarian, whatever, then there can be no reasonable conversation had. And the problem that I have with a lot of these MGTOWs is their overwhelming need for a consistent level of obligatory bylaws to be had is stifling conversations that can help this movement instead of harm it. And by them stifling the creativity of many people, and even in the case of somebody that's working upon your benefit, to stifle what they have to say because you think they have nothing to add to this conversation only because they are female, is intellectually dishonest. Because if you feel that if somebody is, say you're like Janice Fiamengo, say if you're somebody like that, she or Karen Strong, they're taking their entire intellectual property and working to your benefit, to the MRA benefit, trying to stifle the conversations and the stupid intellectual meanderings of feminists for your benefit in colleges. And for you to act or to tell these people that have taken years of their life reading and studying men's issues to benefit and to help you, and don't want to have anything to do with feminism, and every conversation they have is about men's rights and the way men are being treated, for you to dismiss those claims only because they are female is idiotic and intellectually vapid. To think that only because you are an aged MGTOW that you have some fundamentally unflawed principles that no woman can give you any intellectual stimulus to change your ideas or to help your position is stupid. And I find these men in the MGTOW movement who have this underwhelming intelligence in this arena to be intellectually void. And it's sad to see that they can't respect a man, or anybody for that matter, only because those people they feel are outside of their realm, or outside of their intellectual circle. That because you don't understand a fundamental principle or a title in the MGTOW or in the MRA, that makes everything you have to say intellectually void. And that idea is stifling people that can bring something to the table. And for you to feel that you have some moral high ground because you have made a boys club only, and you feel that you don't acknowledge or don't want to have a discussion that might help you learn something or become viable or change your opinion in something, only because they are female, is intellectually void of any knowledge that can be accrued by speaking with somebody like that. Because you're basically saying that you will only listen to somebody that you feel or that you dictate is saying something that you believe to be right, which is the exact same thing that feminists are doing, and the exact same thing that the MGTOW movement and the MRA movement is trying to work against. Which means that you are a MGTOW feminist. You are basically the exact same thing that they are doing. You are doing it passive-aggressively, but that's what you are doing. You are basically protesting the fact, or bringing to the forefront a patriarchy that they feel men have by allowing them to point at you as the founders or the supposed leaders of the MGTOW, and saying that that shows that there is in fact a patriarchy. Because the way these men talk about MGTOW, it is a patriarchy in their eyes. That no one else can be brought into the conversation unless you are a man, and you can't be a gay man, you can't be a transgender man, you have to be a manly man that watches football, which isn't manly at all, and that the obligatory conversations of manhood, which are non-manly things that mean nothing, they're not even expressions of manliness, such as football, basketball, working on cars, riding horses, riding motorcycles, things like this. These are all supposed to be manly pursuits, which have no basis in reality. Just because a man does it doesn't mean that it's manly. Okay? And until 70 years ago, those pursuits wouldn't even be considered manly because it wasn't really a thing, you know. So I find it very intellectually vapid that these men can't see that the things they discuss and the things they talk about and the way they morph the situation and the conversations to be had are just as vapid as any feminist rhetoric and dogma that is spread. They turn MGTOW into a dogma that is not conducive to allowing viable conversations to be had unless you speak what I find to be true. If your idea, if your argument validates my points, then you can speak. If your idea validates my points, yet you're the other, you are something that I deem to be not me, or not as likely to engage a conversation with somebody who is like-minded and also looks like you, that somehow makes your conversation invalid, and that the only way to validate your opinion is to be a heterosexual male, that no matter how much time is being spent against the feminist cause and against reading literature and studying literature, trying to find out what these people are talking about and where they're getting their knowledge from, so that we can impart that knowledge to you and give you ammunition to fight against their cause. To say that those people should not be heard in the MGTOW manosphere because they are not heterosexual males is morally reprehensible, and you're degrading their pursuit in life to help you, and it makes those people not want to try to help you. People like Karen Strong have spent 15 years or more studying this and writing books on it and trying to help the cause, and then I hear these elderly MGTOWs dismissing everything they have to say about it as if the only reason why Karen Strong should be listened to is because some of her points are right, which most of them are right, and the only reason why she shouldn't be allowed into the MGTOW discussion is because she's a woman, when everything she talks about is right, and all of the male subjects that she brings up, that she talks about, is right. And she does a vast array of studies and can lead to a reasonable discussion on topics, and can intellectually give a smackdown to most feminists on their topics and make feminists feel like idiots. And to say that she should not be allowed into a MGTOW discussion because she's female, or if she comes into a live hangout or a stream, that somebody in the MGTOW will act like a child and leave it only because it's a female, is ignorant. Even to bring a feminist in, I can understand muting somebody's mic or something like that. If you bring a feminist into a discussion and they don't allow anybody to talk, I've seen the same thing happen with MGTOWs, though. There's actually a couple of MGTOWs I've seen in hangouts where things will be said and they huff and puff while other people are talking, and you can hear them on the mic huffing and puffing about somebody speaking because they want to be the ones speaking and being heard. Now, in that situation, those people should be mic'd. Their mics should be turned off, And if they are not allowing other people to give their points of view, And that's the problem that you have with most feminists, is they don't want other people to speak because it might challenge their ideas of what they feel is right. So if you're doing that in the MGTOW arena, then you're no different than a feminist. And for you to act like you have some moral superiority or moral high ground in the feminist community or in the MGTOW community because you do these things, you don't. And you're not taking into account that the object of MGTOW and MMRA is to forward the progress of men, to bring men's issues to the forefront so that women can finally understand that men have never had a voice in the community. The patriarchy is only a patriarchy for rich white males and always has been. If you have millions and millions of dollars, then you are part of the patriarchy because you are the ones that rule over all of us. If you are not part of that, which is 98% of males in society, you don't have any control over that. And all you do is day-to-day work and go to work and do your job and come home and be yelled at by your wife for doing nothing. So if that's your life, then you aren't part of the patriarchy. So to act like you are above this in the MRA or the MGTOW only because you have some kind of ideological dogma that everyone has to adhere to, or they aren't seen as a MGTOW to you, is as ignorant as any feminist dogmatic speech. And I find it reprehensible for you to discount people like Karen Strong and many other anti-feminist speakers that have been in some cases speaking against feminism for 40 years and have been speaking against feminism since it began. And to act like these people shouldn't have a voice and shouldn't be heard in the MRA MGTOW community only because they're females is ignorant. So that's what I figured I'd come on and talk to today. I find it, I don't know what to say about it. You know, it's just, it's very sad to see this old mindset where as people get older, they feel they know more than everyone else. And the fact is, these people I'm speaking of in the hangout that they were speaking in, all of their hangouts have less than 100 views. So it tells you that what they have to say is not really being received that well. And they want this exclusive little boys club where no girls are allowed. And it doesn't matter what you can bring to the table, that is all that should be heard is men, because women have nothing to say on the men's issues, even if they've been working for 40 years for the men's issues and have nothing to do with feminists and don't want anything to do with feminists. That all of a sudden makes anything they have to say invalid only because they're female. So if you like this video, share, like, and subscribe. If you got any comments, leave them in the section below. I'm sure I might have some discourse in the description below. I'll leave some things in the description below so that you can see some videos that I talked about in this video. Some people that I think you might want to see. Yeah, thanks for watching, and have a nice night.